Welcome to Me Time with Mind Escape Vibe, where it is your time to be kind to your mind. Wow, March has just been such a busy month, but we've sprung forward and we are now in spring. And when I think about my mental victory vibe celebration, well, of course, I walk every day. So that's the celebration to be able to get out and do the walking meditation and just clear my head and clear my mind. But my celebration for the week is connection. Connection. Talking and hanging out with my girlfriends and just having a good time and chopping it up and having their support and them loving on me and me loving on them. I feel so blessed to have them in my life. And I know you know who you are. And I just want to thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It really fills my cup, especially when we to laugh and to reminisce and to think about friendships that I've had of one of my girlfriends since 7th grade, and to think about that friendship, where we started and how we are now. It's just a blessing. It's a blessing. My other girlfriend, we've been friends since we were 19. So it is just a blessing to have those conversations. Like, we had a conversation this week about menopause. It's great to have somebody to have that conversation with and to talk about those things and what we're experiencing and just supporting each other. So my cup is full. My cup is full, y'all. My cup is full. 2023 is the year of PAVE for Mind Escape Vibe. And January, February, and March are the P for PAVE, which is permission to put you first. So a lot of the guests on the podcast aligned with that theme. So my friend Jarrell, who was on the podcast and talked about self-love and finding the woman within. And I can really relate to that because I constantly think about, okay, now that I'm a parental consultant, what else can I do? Yes, I have the things that I like to do, but it's really understanding when to be present and when to continue to provide guidance for my grown children and when to step back and let them have their own experiences and life lessons. And that is something where I can be a mother bear. I get nervous. I'm like, no, I got to try to shield. But I am gradually learning how to step back and to provide advice when asked. So I'm very grateful for just being able to find that woman within and to find what makes me happy, like doing this podcast and a lot of the other things that I like to do. So I feel very grateful there. Then we had Dare Me Danielle, where she talked about eating for energy, focus, and confidence. And I have actually really been putting a lot of work into eating and following an intuitive eating mindset when with my meals and just with myself and checking in with myself as I through the process. One thing that a couple of my friends and I are doing, and my younger sister, we are doing a body confidence challenge where we meet every Wednesday and we support each other and we talk about sugar. Sugar is that snarky snack that's really soothing when life is stressful or just period, just something that you want. So we were working on, and I say were, but we are working on cutting back on the refined sugar in our diets and instead identifying with the emotion and understanding what we need versus just reaching for that sugar-filled snack. And it has been a great experience as well, just experiencing that. And I credit that a lot to Danielle. It's nice to know folks that are really understand nutrition. I can remember my journey when I first started years ago. And I say years ago, it's about 2015, 2016. I didn't understand a lot about nutrition. And over the years, I've been blessed to come in contact with individuals to educate me and to point me in the right direction. And I'm grateful that Danielle came on and she talked about strategies that one can put in place when they're really trying to be in tune with their nutrition. The next podcast that we had was self-accountability, the good, bad, and the ugly, where I had to check in with my ego self, because sometimes as an individual, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, we put so much pressure on ourselves to achieve, and we don't take a step back to take a breath and enjoy what we've accomplished, even if it's small, or take a step back and just rest. And that really was something that I've been trying to focus on as well, to take a step back and to rest and to take those moments. I'm grateful that my Frenchie Rain is also in my life, because it gets to a certain time, if I'm still in my office working, she does that grunt. That's letting me know, hey, you've been sitting there too long. It's time to get up. Let's go outside. I need a pet. I need a cuddle. Let's go. So I'm grateful for her, because she also holds me accountable. And my younger sister, Eb, was on the podcast as well for our Permission to Put You First, January, February, and March. And the title of her podcast was Anything Worth Having Ain't Easy. And we just chopped it up and talked about so many things, checking in with your true self, and boundaries and expectations. And I also continue to do this because I think that it's super duper important to not only set expectations for others, but to set expectations for myself, to be able to check in with myself and see if I have enough within my cup to keep going, so I can be present for all of these for all the people in my life. But also expectations in the sense of boundaries and knowing when I am at capacity, and being able to identify with that and to say, okay, well, I need to back up. I can't do this. I need to wait. I need to be patient. I need to be still. I need to listen. Just checking in with myself. And that is really part of setting boundaries as well, because when you think about it, how can you have expectations for others to align with the boundary that you've put in place for a particular reason, and you haven't expressed what those reasons are and what you need from them in order for not just the boundary to be good for you, but to be good for them as well. So I have really been putting a lot into setting clear expectations, setting clear boundaries, and meeting people where they are, and being open to discussing the boundary and why I can't do it, or identifying when I can, or if I'll ever be able to. You know, that can be pretty challenging, especially when life comes at you so fast with so many demands and so many priorities, and it's just coming so fast. And taking that time to reflect and say, okay, let me take a breath and let me truly identify what I can do now, what I can do later, and if I need to ask for help. And that's something that I had to do, to the point where I asked my youngest to help me with my social media. I just needed some help. So it has been, that was a great podcast. And of course, I love my younger sister. And then the next podcast was with Faith Brown, with Faith Counseling. And the title of that podcast was, How Are You Doing? And Faith talked about form and being authentic. She also gave some tips on checking in with the kids, right? Checking in with the children, and um, opening that door of conversation, internet relationships, cyberbullying. She gave some great advice there. And guys, you just want to check that out, because it also changed how I checked in actually with my adult children. I am intentionally taking time to check in with them, not just together, but individually, spending independent time with them so that they can check in with me. I can check in with them. We can have that open conversation with each other, and just love on each other independently. But at the same time, I'm bringing everybody together. We put those Sunday dinners back on the calendar and we're coming together and checking in and bringing in that laughter and that fun, and just showing up as a family for each other, because I think that that's really important. One of the things that I can say is the pandemic changed a lot of that for my family. Whereas we would have a dinner, we'd go out to dinner at least once a month, where we could just sit down in the restaurant, chop it up, have some fun, have some laughs. And with the pandemic, everything closed down, and everyone was sequestered in their own individual spaces. And then as things started to open back up, we didn't move back into the routine that we had before. We just adapted to how life was going at that time. And you'd ask the question, well, when are we all going to get together? When are we all going to get together? Okay, we'll get together. Let's text about it. Let's talk about it. Let's plan about it. And it's something that never happens because, well, life is busy. And it keeps going, and you just keep going with it. So I took a stand. This is what I did, y'all. I am not a group text person. Let me just start with that. I don't like being on a group text. If you want to talk to me, you can call me, or you can send me an individual text message. Please don't put me on a group text with a whole bunch of people, because that's just not my jam. It is not my jam. So I sent a group text to the adult children. Now, when they received it, they should have all been looking at it like, oh, wow, this is pretty serious, because she don't do the group text thing. I do not. But in that text message, I told them, hey, we all need to get together and break bread. Now, I know they're adults. Everyone has their plans. Everyone has their own life, right? So I made sure I gave enough notice. So that, they need to move some things around. They could. They had enough time. And I chose a consistent day. We are going to meet on the second Sunday of the month, be at the house at this time. And I gave everyone something to do. And I had to take a stand, because we had not gotten back to getting together like we did prior to the pandemic. And it hit me. I'm like, wait a minute, Renii, you got to do better. Because, it could fall on them. They could say, hey, Mom, let's get together. Let's do this. Now, of course, we get together for holidays, my birthdays, things like that, Mother's Day. We all get together and do different things like that. We celebrate each other's accomplishments. My youngest is graduating from cosmetology school in June. We celebrate that accomplishment. We're going to get together, celebrate her, and just lift her up and chop it up and have a good time. However, a consistent schedule getting together, we did not have. So I had to make a change. I want to see them. Simple terms. I want to see them. So we had our first gathering this past Sunday, where we got the grill out and, barbecued, chopped it up, had a good time, and really is truly an opportunity for what I want my adult kids to experience, because the world is the world, right? But when they come to mom's house and they come through the door and they're on lanai or in the backyard, the stresses of what they were going through before they came through the door, I want them to be able to leave that behind, even if it's just for a moment, to just experience the love of being at mom's house. Because I remember that experience. I remember being a single mom with, at the time, my youngest wasn't born yet, Keon, and going to my mom and my dad's house. Okay, going to my mom and dad's house, and my dad opening that door and walking through that door. It was like the weight of the world left my shoulders, and seeing my mom, how you doing? It's a different feeling. Walking into the parents' home from being out there and having to deal with so many things. It's like that weight of the world goes away just for a moment. And that's what I want my kids to experience when they come to visit at my house. So it was a great time. We had a good time. And guess what, y'all? Let me tell you something. Those adults ate. Usually I have some leftovers. I have to say, hey, take a plate. It was nothing to take. So not only was the food good, I chose wisely. And of course, my middle son was on the grill, and he definitely gets down on the meat. So everyone really ate and had a good time and just really, truly enjoyed themselves. So I was very excited about that. Very excited about that, because I do want to do more of that. I want us to experience more of that together. So this mama right here had to take a stand. I had to not stand back and be a parental consultant. I had to actually say, this is what we're doing. I need you here. And this is the day. And let me tell you something. They all showed up. And brought what they were assigned to do. So my oldest, my daughter, she was assigned to refreshments. She bought all types of refreshments, sugar-laced refreshments, but refreshments nonetheless. And I have to tell a story about that. So my oldest is a girl, a woman. I'm sorry. And in our family growing up, so my mom and my dad, they liked Pepsi products. They liked Pepsi. And that's actually what we were, taught to drink. Hey, don't come to my house with something else. You better bring a Pepsi. My daughter brought probably 2-3 liters of Pepsi up in here. Like my mom was visiting, and like the family from Indiana was here, and we needed all that Pepsi. And I laughed because I understood why she did it. That is something that my mom, hey, we drink Pepsi, you bring me a Pepsi. And that's what my daughter brought. So I laughed, and everyone drank it. And my son said, let me take one of these home. So that hasn't left us. Hasn't left us. Like I said, my son was on the grill, and my youngest, Kiki, she was in charge of entertainment. Now, let me tell you something. Kiki didn't do anything different for entertainment. She just let everyone be, let them laugh, and have a good time. So A+ on the entertainment, Kiki. Thank you so much, babe. Everyone had a great time. Okay. My daughter-in-law was here, and she brought her friend who was visiting with her from New York. And it was just a great conversation with these young ladies and how they see the world and their opinion on what's going on in the world, and strong opinions about what could be better in this world. And very, very great conversation. I really enjoyed that conversation. I feel like my heart was so full that day, even though when they left, I was really tired. So here's where the age comes in. I had a good time with them, laughing, chopping it up. And it was probably about 8:15, 8:30-ish. and I get a text from my daughter-in-law and say, hey, we're going out for drinks. You want to meet us? Y'all, I had already put my pajamas on, put on my fuzzy slippers, and sat down. And this body was like, you can't leave the sofa. So I texted her back and I said, to be young again. You know, I've come to realize that if I'm not already out of the house and it's 8:30, I'm not leaving the house at 8:30. It's hard for me to leave the house after 7 because I'm like, what? Why would I do that? So I'm getting more and more of that. I'm sure a lot of folks can relate to that. I don't feel like going. It's a little dark, you know. I can't keep the party going. I can't keep the party going like my youngest. My youngest can keep the party going. I cannot. I had to give me some sleep. So it's just great to be with the family and to just to chop it up with them and to experience that family time. And we're going to take that back. We're going to take that back. And we're going to continue to build our bond as a family, but also to continue to create that village, right? To create that village where it may not just be us. We have other people that come in, because the support and the connection of the village is also important. Because I mentioned that earlier, right? With my girlfriends and just having those conversations and being there for them. So as I summarize what I've learned for the month of March, what I've experienced and how it made me feel, I can say this: I am myself. I know myself. I am a voice for myself. And I am myself. What does that mean? That I'm walking authentically. It's not a form. If I'm not feeling it, I'm not going to do it. And thanks, Faith. Thank you. I know myself. That's taking that time to just be still and be patient with the person that I'm becoming. Every day, I don't have all the answers, y'all. Every day, I don't get it right. Some days I'm snarky. Some days I, may have a little more attitude than the others. But I do take the time to move away from logic and to go into a meditative state so that I can reconnect with who I am. And I appreciate all of those moments, because that is also grace. That's grace. That's giving myself grace. I am a voice for myself. Speaking up and knowing what my needs are, what I needed. I needed to feel the joy and the laughter and the vibes of my adult children. And I spoke up, and they showed up for me. I needed to feel the connection and the love and the support of my girlfriends. And they show up for me. So I feel very blessed in that. I feel very blessed in that. And I also feel like I am grounded. They ground me, because my kids, they're not kids, like they're adult children. It's so hard for me to change the language, but you get where I'm going with it, right? Our relationship is evolving from mommy mode to everything, overseeing everything that they're doing, to let's sit down and have a conversation and have a dialogue, and let's have a glass of wine together, and let's laugh and talk together. And I'm loving that. I love that. So in an effort of staying with a theme for January, February, and March, permission to put yourself first, The way I feel I've put myself first in these last 3 months is using my voice and asking for help and saying, hey, I need to hear your voice, saying to loved ones, I love you. I'm so glad you're in my life. Finding my calm in gratitude when the world is chaotic. Centering on gratitude, what I'm grateful for. Because when I think about it at the end of the day, I'm always grateful to be able to talk to my daughter, talk to my son, talk to my daughter, and that's all three of them. I said them separately so they could each be identified. And I'm grateful for them. And I'm grateful for my girlfriends because they help me to remain grounded and to remain centered. And, life is precious. We all know that. Life is precious. Every day isn't promised. So hug that one that does it for you. And even hug the one that doesn't, because they still do something for you. They still do something for you. So in light of Q1, quarter one, January, February, and March, and permission to put you first for the P in PAVE, the quote that I'm ending with today is by one of my favorite people, Maya Angelou. Nothing can dim the light which shines within. And that's why I need all of these people, because their light keeps mine from getting dim in the regards of connection and love and just being there for each other. And I'm so grateful for them. And even on a personal or professional level, it's good to be grounded so you can keep your light burning. Don't think that it's not possible. And I don't like to really say don't, but I like to say no longer think that it's possible, because it is. It is. So we're going into April, and April is Stress Awareness Month. So I'm so excited about the lineup that I have. I'll talk about that too next week. But check out the podcast for February and March. And I hope you enjoy them. And I hope you have a great day. And remember, this is me time with Mind Escape Vibe, where it is your time to be kind to your mind. Have a great day.